Hey guys, welcome to Asking Ashley. This is episode 9 of Asking Ashley. Without further ado, let's get into this week's submissions. This one is titled Setting Boundaries with Roommates. Hi Ashley, my current living situation is not ideal. I live with 2 other roommates in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, but since I live in a high cost of living area, this is the most affordable option. My problem is one of my roommates does not pick up after herself, and if she does, it's usually days after the fact.
Yeah.
And by that time, myself or one of my other roommates have picked up after her. I've tried the how long will she go without taking out the trash/recycling game, and she just doesn't do her part. Worse, I've seen her come out of the bathroom without flushing or washing her hands.
Oh hell no!
I've tried talking to her about her habits, but she can be dismissive or straight up denies what I've seen with my own 2 eyes.
Why?
In addition to all of that, I'm an introvert and like to spend time in my room. She is extroverted and tries to talk to me whenever she can, even when she doesn't even have anything to say. I think she just likes hearing the sound of her own voice, to be honest. Anyway, the living situation has been contentious to say the least. I'm moving out soon and will be living with a new roommate. My question is, how do I go about setting boundaries beforehand so I don't get into another situation like this one? And if they do something that bothers me, how do I go about having a conversation to address it without being mean? Love the show and thanks for the advice. Whether you're in the military, college dorm, or just staying with friends or family, I think we've all been in a bad roommate situation. And if you haven't, chances are you're the bad roommate. So clearly you've already had a conversation with this person and it hasn't gone very well because she keeps brushing off her living habits. So one thing I would suggest would be to leave little reminder notes. And I think your 3rd roommate will understand that they're addressed to her to remind her to practice good hygiene while in the house.
Please don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. Please wash your hands before you leave the bathroom.
Don't forget to flush.
That is the most cutesy, passive-aggressive thing that I can think of right off the bat, of a way of making sure that your roommate's practicing good hygiene. So my first suggestion is to leave those little notes everywhere so it's always in her mind to make sure that she does those things. I know you're only in this place for a little bit longer, but I wanted to make sure that I addressed that part of your dilemma so that the rest of your stay isn't plagued by poor habits. As for your next situation, which I think is truly your dilemma that you're asking me about, how do I go about setting boundaries/expectations beforehand so I don't get into another situation like this? I think it's always good to have household talks with one another. Once a month, however long, because I think a lot of times we might go into seasons in our lives where we start to slack off a little bit, whether that's due to personal stress, whether that's due to a hectic schedule, whether that's due to personal illness. I think we all go through times where we let things in our home get a little bit crazy in terms of cleanliness. And sometimes even with ourselves, we let ourselves go in certain stressful situations. So I think it's good to have a monthly check-in with your roommates or roommate, I don't know what your next living situation is going to be, where you guys can frankly have conversations with one another and just kind of check in. And for this monthly check-in, it doesn't always have to be bad.
Every time you yell at your kids, put a quarter in your no yelling sock and soon you'll have a weapon to beat.
These situations are going to happen when you live with other people. There's bound to be some stepping on toes even with those protocols in place. And at least when you start with that conversation of, okay, these are the rules of having someone over, these are the rules of family visits, these are the rules of the bathroom, these are the rules of the kitchen, and these are the rules of the common area. Once you kind of set those boundaries within yourselves, and even if you go in with that personality of kind of no nonsense when it comes to hygiene and cleanliness of your personal space. They know what to expect from you going forward, so they won't be surprised by a conversation that you might have to have with them later on when they realize, oh yeah, she definitely talked about this in the beginning and now she's reminding me that this is her expectation for her living space. So that's kind of my 3 suggestions. Only 2 of them are for your new living situation and 1 is for your current living situation. So again, put those little cutesy passive-aggressive notes in different areas of the house so your current roommate can remember to pick up after herself. It might sound petty or childish, but clearly it's come to that when she's not flushing the toilet, she's leaving wares and dishes in places for days on end. I think that's grounds for some passive aggressiveness. I know you don't want to be mean, but I think some firmness is needed in your current situation. And for your next living situation, I suggest that you do have a conversation about personal boundaries and rules around inevitable things like having guests, having people over, quiet hours, music volume, prior to you guys kind of solidifying your living situation. Lastly, it's okay to remind people of living guidelines and have it somewhere posted where everyone can see it. And that can be part of your first meeting where you all get together and you write these rules together and you put them somewhere where everyone can see them. I think it's part of growing to be able to take care of your living space and take good care of the people who you live with. So good luck with setting boundaries with your current and future roommates, and thanks for sending in your dilemma. Okay, this next one is called friend trouble. How do you deal with a friend who keeps going for the wrong guy, then comes back and complains to you about it?
No off-topic questions. Because I don't want to. No, permission denied. That's an off-topic questions. Next.
I know that we always want the best for our friends, and when we see them with someone who we don't necessarily find is the best match for them or treats them poorly, it can kind of makes us hurt for them, knowing that they deserve so much better. This is a tough one, especially because there's not a lot of context, so this could be taken a lot of different ways. So I'll deal with different kinds of wrong guys, for example. So the first type of wrong guy I'm thinking of is a dangerous situation. Placing a trigger warning here for anyone who doesn't want to hear about abuse or abusive situations. And in that situation, it can be really difficult to get someone out of abuse. As much as you want to help them, they're the only ones who can get themselves out of the situation, unfortunately. And as much as it sucks and as much as that's extremely hurtful and sad, it's gotta be them. I'll provide those resources below in the description box just in case anyone doesn't know what these hotlines are and needs some resources for help for anyone you might know who's in that situation, male or female. So stepping back into a different kind of wrong guy where it's just like an incompatibility in the relationship on any level, whether that is infidelity, general meanness, not a good match for lifestyle choices, etc. I'm sorry. I would suggest that you stay out of it.
100%.
Sometimes when you're with your friends, you don't necessarily say all the good that's happening in your relationship in equal measure as the bad that might be happening in your relationship. So to you as a friend, you might think, oh my goodness, she's always dating these terrible, terrible guys. Why? Or she or he is always dating these terrible, terrible guys. I don't understand why she always goes for these people. When in reality, it might be a situation of she just only vents about the bad things because that's what she likes to do with her friends, is just kind of tell you all the terrible things that are going on. And by terrible, I mean, it just means her little complaints, just so your friend has someone to vent to about her relationship and doesn't, share the good things that are going on in equal measure. But in the other situation where she is seriously choosing people who put her in bad situations, don't take care of her, treat her badly, I'd stay in my own lane again.
Oh, God!
I would say I give my 2 cents, but I wouldn't nag her about it. A lot of times, the person who we choose to accompany us in life, whether that be a partner, whether that be a friend, is a reflection of how we see ourselves internally. We attract like, whether or not we aim to. If we feel bad about ourselves, we attract people who in turn treat us the way we think we should be treated. So in that case, telling your friend that she's dating the wrong guys won't help until she or he sees themselves in a better light and more deserving of a partner who cares about them and will treat them with respect. So I suggest that you try to get your friend into therapy. So first and foremost, provide them with the resources that they need to get out of a dangerous situation. Be there as much as you can for them, but know that even in the worst case scenario, they can't get out of that situation unless they decide that it's time for them to get out. But when they are ready, be there as much as you can to help them with everything else that they need, and provide safety and a safe haven for them to seek an escape from that terrible, terrible situation. Second of all, have that conversation with your friend and say, is your situation with your significant other really that bad? Or do you just kind of vent to us and only tell us the negative things that are going on in your relationship as a means of just letting off steam? And if so, try to remind us of the good things that are also happening in your relationship, just so we know you're all right as your friends. The best thing that they can do for themselves is to seek therapy so they can improve their relationship with themselves, so that they can choose a better partner that reflects what they want for their lives and how they see themselves. So that's it for this week's submissions. Thank you for everyone who sent in their submissions. I'm always happy to respond. And if you have a question that you would like answered, go to askingashley.com to submit your story and I'll respond to it on the show. Feel free to leave a comment down below on any suggestions that you might have for the people in these situations, or better yet, any resources that you think that they should be provided with in terms of their current situations. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content that I'm putting out. And thank you so much for listening, and take care of each other. Bye.